Hey everyone, it is late at night and I'm Norman. So every year, my family and I take a trip to a lake on the complete opposite side of the state. And we spend a week there, lounging and swimming in the lake and just unwinding and relaxing. Up until the past few years, our family and family friends used to fill up the entire resort. We stay in these old logger cabins, and even though we're in cabins, it's still roughing it. On hot summers, there is no AC in the cabins or anything like that. They are just small structures. So instead of tents, we do have a cabin over our heads, but yeah, it's not fancy by any means. It's hot, dirty, and sweaty most of the time. And my wife's family has been going there, I think, since way before she was born. Like, they've been going there for generations. Way back then, they went to a different resort, and that ended up going private. So they moved to the one that we go to. And my wife and I have been going there for 20 some years or something. So we've seen some things. There was one year where the weather was really bad. I was out under the covered area that's right near the swimming hole. I was cooking burgers on a small Weber, and it was really windy and really dark out. And we looked out over the lake, and something was wrong with the lake. It looked like it was dumping rain so hard that the surface of the lake was kind of blurry looking. And there's an island out there with trees along the top of the island and a cabin in the center of it. And we looked out over the lake, and that's when we saw it. The trees on top of that island all blew over like dominoes. It wasn't rain messing with the surface of the lake, that was wind, and it was coming our direction. So I put on my fire gloves and grabbed the Weber and ran it to the lee side of our cabin and continued cooking. My wife ran into the cabin and had the kids huddle up under the mattresses, and yeah, it was crazy. There was some damage done to at least one of the cabins. However, our resort didn't take the bulk of the damage because it blew across the lake, and around the corner is where we stay, and it kind of crossed over to the resort on the other side of the lake. Yeah, so it was a supercell, which I hadn't heard of before that. But we also have friends that we met there who go there at the same time every year as we do. So as of a few years ago, we started really hanging out with them and found out that they're just like us. And the husband is actually a watch nerd. He's my friend who loaned me his Don Draper a few years ago, as well as his Constellation and his Explorer. And I got to review his Seamaster 300 when he had it there at the lake. So every year I bring a bunch of watches. That way we can kind of do show and tells, and I can loan him a watch or two until the next year. However, this year they aren't going to be able to make it. But I think I'm still going to take a bunch of watches because we're there for a whole week and it's nice having options. The weather forecast this year is for really hot weather, so I'm going to be in the lake a lot. So I think this year I'm going to go all sports, pretty much all pieces that can go in the water. I think I'm just going to limit myself to one dress watch for hanging out in the evenings or whatever. But let me flip the camera around and I'll show you the pieces that I'm going to bring and why. Let us begin. Okay, so I'm pondering taking the Serica 5303 just because I don't give it nearly enough wrist time. And it has 300 meters of water resistance, which is perfect for a week of swimming and floating out on the lake. And it's such a great looking watch. I'm still kind of up in the air as far as if I'm going to keep this watch or end up selling it at some point this year. I'm not sure. But now that I own the Armida, that's kind of my go-to dive watch. This is just so cool looking. And I do like the GMT inner bezel there. And it would be really cool to have this watch when my wife and I go to Paris. And I am hoping to visit Serica. And it would be kind of cool to have one of their watches on my wrist when I do. But yeah, this will be perfect for the lake. So I'll probably bring it. And I'm still absolutely honeymooning with the F77. I love this watch. It has decent water resistance, but probably not a piece I'm going to be wearing in the water. I think it has 100 meters of water resistance. But who knows, I might wear this on days where we're mostly going to be lounging in the shade and probably hop in the lake to cool off and then return to the shore. Nevada Grenchen just put out a limited edition F77. It was a collaboration, and I am so tempted to pick up one of those because it's the only one that has a smooth black dial on it. It isn't the stone dials or like this one. It's smooth black. It has a red seconds hand and red XXX under Nevada Grenchen. And I feel like that smooth dial would look even cooler on an F77 than this textured one. So tempting. Pick that up, and then if I like it more, let this one go. I don't know. Such a cool watch though. Yeah, and I don't know if the pop of red, I don't know what I would think of that in person. I kind of like this silver for the hands and indices on this, the more monochrome look, but they're only putting out 50. I'm surprised they aren't sold out yet, but if there are any left when I have enough funds for one, I might go for it and then decide which one I want to keep. I don't know. And there's the Everest, which I still also absolutely love. I mean, you can't go wrong with vintage explorer aesthetics. And last time I went to the lake, I had my old Everest with the clasp that was just friction fit. And I actually wore it in the lake. And when I jumped into the lake, that clasp popped open. Fortunately, the watch stayed on my wrist. So it would be nice to have an option with a much more secured clasp that I can have confidence in. So I'm definitely going to take this. And yeah, I still think the gilt dial is my favorite variant of this watch. It just adds a little bit of elegance to it, above and beyond the normal one. The honeycomb dial one's pretty cool too. But this one is my favorite. I like the darkness of that dial, and the gold accents just look great. And the Armida, being a true dive watch, this has 300 meters of water resistance, 36 millimeter case, so it's my size, absolutely. I love the mil-sub aesthetic, I always have, even before I was a full-blown watch nerd, when all I liked was dive watches and didn't care to know anything about them except their aesthetics, and this was the look that I liked. I didn't want any dive watches with batten markers or anything else. It was all mil-sub. At that time, I had no idea what it was called, so it was really difficult trying to find them online. But yeah, definitely taking this with me. Absolutely amazing watch. And I'm guessing this will probably be what's on my wrist the most when I'm in the lake, but we'll find out. And the last watch is the Nevada Grenchen Antarctic 35 millimeters. I was going to bring the Tudor, and if my friend and his wife were going to be there this year, I absolutely would, because he hasn't had a chance to see this in person yet. But I thought, being an extra hot year this year, I would go with a dress watch that's actually kind of a tool watch in disguise. This has 50 meters of water resistance, which is definitely decent for a dress watch. It has a sapphire crystal, and yeah, it's kind of a super rugged dress watch. And yep, still honeymooning with this piece as well. So there you have it, the watches that I'm bringing to the lake this year. If I get a chance, I might do a vlog video, but who knows, I might end up being way too busy doing nothing. Thanks for watching.